Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai with Us podcast. This is episode number 35. Is it 35?
I think it's 35.
It's 35. I am Erica, the personal developer.
And I'm Ivana from Okolo Isabels.
Yes, and today we are going to talk about our lessons from 2020. What have we learned this year?
That's right. But first, what are you drinking?
Oh my God, I'm drinking chocolate tea from Yogi Tea.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
It's so delicious, seriously.
Yeah,
Oh, and it says, your
and
greatest strength is love.
I like that. That's very nice. I'm drinking a green matcha tea with raspberry.
Yummy. Oh, with
Yeah,
raspberry.
I know I combined two. It doesn't come with
Ah,
raspberry.
good girl, good girl.
So
Nice.
yeah, I just thought it needed something more, so I added the raspberry tea.
Oh
It's
my
very
God.
good.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this. Is sweet and you have no idea.
yummy. Yeah,
Everybody, if you can get a hold of this tea, okay, it's called Choco, I think, from Yogi Tea. It's amazing.
nice. I like that. And I
Mm.
love the tea messages. It's always a nice touch.
Yes, isn't it? Okay, so this episode is not about tea, even though it looks like. And we have to talk about what we have learned in 2020, in this very tough year, really.
Yes.
Do you even know where to start?
I don't because I feel like I can't, first of all, I can't believe it's December.
Yes.
Uh, sorry, I had a little message there. I can't believe it's December. I have no idea like where the year has gone. I feel like to me it's just February or March. That's how I feel. Like I feel like we still have the whole year ahead of us.
No, please don't.
Not the same year. That's not how I envision it, obviously. I envision a whole different year. But it's strange. Like to me, it doesn't feel like it's December and we're almost finished with this year. And I'm glad that we're finished.
Yes.
But this is not how I expected the year to go at all. And I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Tell me about it. I feel the exact same thing. I'm so happy we are in December.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. I was never I was never so excited by Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
New Year's Eve. I'm really happy for this, and I can't wait for this year to be over. Seriously, I love to be mindful. I love living in the present moment. But right now, put me in 2021 because I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to start and tell us what one of the lessons is that you learned this year?
Okay, so I brought you 3 lessons, and
Okay.
the first one is what it's one thing that I've always known, but it's too obvious right now. It's that the only constant in life is change.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Like there is nothing permanent. There is
Mm-hmm.
nothing that is going to stay the same forever. Things
Mm-hmm.
change. We change. The people around us change. Climate change. The world change. And it was a lesson that I had to learn again. And more than
Mm-hmm.
learning the lesson, it was more about how to deal with change. Because
Mm-hmm.
let's face it, almost every week or every couple of days, especially since October, I had new information coming at me that would change either my life or the way I think about life and certain people.
Okay.
So I got to a point where I was like exhausted. I mean, I was like, when is this going to be over? When
Mm-hmm.
are things going to be, just regular, normal, no changes? I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
chill. And it was kind of impossible. And there was
Yes.
a time, it came to a time where I had just to, surrender and say, you know what? Okay, just throw things at me. I don't care. I was just like waiting for things to be thrown at me because that was what was happening. Like change was happening constantly. And I think that this is a huge lesson that humanity is learning right now. Like because we woke up and there was no coronavirus, and then all of a sudden, yes, there is coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
and that changed our lives forever. And we didn't know what was going to happen the next day and the next day and the next day. We are in
Mm-hmm.
confinement, we are not in confinement, we are working online, then we're working in person, then some people are like half and half, you know.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
teaching online, and all of a sudden I'm in school again. My students are wearing masks. Like
Yeah.
a lot of things changed for me this year, and more than learning that things do change, I knew that, but I learned how to cope with change.
Yes.
It was very tough, but
Mhm. Yeah. I like that. I think it's a very good one.
mm,
For me, I think it has been patience.
mhm,
Because we want things to be over so fast. We want to have a
yes,
cure. We want to like live our life again like we used to. And it just has taught us that we need to have patience because we don't know when it's going to be over. We don't know when the vaccine is going to be available. We don't know how many more people are going to have to die from it. So it's taught me how to really be patient and wait. And not just that, not just with the corona, also with, in the US, we've had Trump as the president for the last 4 years, and it has been horrible. And like we had to be patient and wait until his time was over so that we can elect a new leader. And so it's been
mm,
4 years of patience, of extreme patience, and having just to watch all the horrible things that he has done to our country and not be able to do anything about it. We tried to impeach him, we tried to do all these things, and nothing stuck. And so it just really has taught us that we have to be patient until his term is over come January 20th, and then he is out of office. So I think
oh,
not just this year, but the last 4 years, we've learned immense patience, and that it pays off to be patient. I think patience is one of the greatest virtues
mhm.
that we can have.
Wow, I totally agree with you. Like learning how to be patient this year, because again things are changing. We cannot
Hmm.
do anything. As you said, we are not working on the vaccine personally, and we just have to wait for things to get better and move on with
And I
our
think
lives
that's
the
the
way we
hardest
can.
part because we don't know how long we have to wait. Like if we knew, okay, like with Trump, we knew after 4 years we'd have another chance to elect somebody else. With
Yes,
this virus, we don't know when it's going to be over. We don't know if we're ever going to be able to return to our normal because we don't
yes.
have like a thing that says, okay, on this date this virus expires. Like you think about it, everything in our lives comes with expiration dates. Have you thought about that? Like all the
Hmm.
food we eat, the stuff that we
Yes,
buy, it has an expiration date on it. And so we kind of like, you know what I mean? It puts things into perspective for us. We're like, okay, oh, okay, I have like a year until this thing goes bad. It's okay. I don't have to finish it now.
yes,
It's like that. Like it's, I think as just people, we are so used to having expiration dates for things that we want to have an expiration date for this virus. We want to have someone say, okay, on this day this virus expires, we can go on, and then we can be patient. I think it's much easier to be patient when you have a date, don't you
of
think?
course. Yes, when you know
Because
when this thing is going to be over, you'll be like, oh, okay,
then you know.
okay, yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you,
Yeah.
and this is so freaking interesting. I didn't think about that, and I think it's a
Hmm.
very interesting perspective. We are so used to have an expiration date on everything, and
Yes.
it's like I'm sick, so I have to wait until the 10th where I have
Yes.
the appointment. Everything revolves around this. I'm so looking
Exactly.
forward to talk to Ivana. Okay, I'll wait because on this date I'm going to talk to her.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yes, you are right, and it's much easier to be patient when when you
Hmm.
have like this limit date,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But when you have no idea, then it's difficult to be patient because
Yeah.
but on the
You
other
don't know.
hand, yeah, you don't know, but it can be tomorrow or 10
That's
years
right.
from now. And
Yeah. And I think
whoa,
even if it
mhm,
was like 2 years, like let's say, okay, it'll take us 2 years to finally be done with this virus, we would hate that and we would not like that it's 2 years, but at least we would know that it's 2 years. And come 2 years,
yeah,
it's over. And so
yeah,
I think very much so we need to have like that we need to have a date for the light at the end of the tunnel, if that makes any sense. Because
yeah, it makes
everything we've
total
ever done,
sense. You know
yeah,
why?
everything, yeah.
You know why it makes sense? Because we like to control things.
Yes, yes.
And this year, we can't control shit.
It's true.
Nothing we can control this year. And it drives us human crazy
Yes,
because there is nothing we can control.
yes. It's true.
That's it.
Mhm.
Oh
It's
boy.
hard to give up that control or to
Yeah.
feel like we're not in control because we think that we're in control of our lives and everything that we do, and all of
Yes.
a sudden this virus is teaching us that we're not.
Yeah. We have a false notion of control because
Yes, I
we
agree.
never have control.
Hmm.
This
We
is
just
a
think we do.
lie. We just think we do. That makes
Hmm.
us, sleep better because we think we have control, but we actually don't. And you just said it. This virus just proved us
Yeah.
wrong. We have no
Hmm.
control over things. Life happens, and, here we are.
It's true.
Wow. I didn't expect to start that deep from the beginning. But yeah, you're right.
Yes,
I liked your perspective. It was good.
thank you. What's your
Okay.
next one?
Well, my next one is pain is a teacher.
Oh, okay, yes. That's a very good one.
Yes. Yes, so I've been learning a lot from pain, from grief. I think I mentioned on the other episode that I recently lost my father for coronavirus, and of course, I'm in a lot of pain. Now I'm better. It's been a month and a bit, and personal development and therapy and yoga and meditation
Hmm.
and everything, and I do feel better right now. But I have learned that pain actually teaches you things,
Hmm.
and I've learned a lot about myself lately. Like seriously, I started to question everything. This
Hmm.
one good thing about death is when you face it, you start questioning what you do.
Yes.
You're like, what the hell am I doing? And you start thinking about the time that you spend on things, and you start wondering, what are you doing?
Hmm.
And then there comes a time where you have to actually face the pain that you're feeling and look for the meaning of it, and look for the lessons that this pain is trying to teach you. Because if you are feeling pain, well, there's a reason, and usually it's way more deep
Hmm.
than what we think. So yeah, 2020 has taught me that pain is a teacher.
Hmm.
It's not a very cool teacher, it's a very harsh teacher, but it
Yeah.
does teach you things if you are willing to learn, right?
Hmm.
We have two options.
Yes.
We can crawl and hide and do nothing about it, or we can actually learn what it is that we have to learn, and then move on. And I have learned so many things lately, and to be honest, it's painful to let go of a few things, but it's also very freeing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I think in pain, that's when you have the most growth. It's during the hardest times in your life, like after the breakup of a relationship or the death of
Yes.
a family member.
Yes.
That's when you go through the hardest night of the soul and you really like start to question everything and you learn more about yourself and who you are as a person.
Hmm.
And you grow, and so many like creative things come out of that. Like some people start writing songs, other people write books. That's why like sometimes that's why we relate mostly to those songs that are very emotional, right? The ones that are about pain.
Yeah.
We love all those Adele breakup songs, don't we?
We do. We do.
Because they're relatable. Everyone can relate to them because at one point or another we've broken up with someone, and so they're very relatable. So it's I think when you share something vulnerable from yourself, it's what brings you closer to other people. It's vulnerability that brings us closer together, and that's what makes us who we are.
Yeah, I think so too, because we can find each other in happiness and celebrate, but when you
Yes.
find each other in pain, it's
Mhm.
a it, it's very deep, right? Because you feel like you are on the surgeon table.
Yes.
At least I felt this way, in my
Mhm.
relationship. Like I was crying like a freaking baby, like,
Mhm.
and that's deep. To have someone hold you on
Yes.
those moments, that's deep. That you create a different connection than being ha ha ha.
Yes.
Of course, being happy also creates connection, and sharing things, but
But it's easier. It's
it's
easier to be
easier.
connected when you're happy
Yes,
and you're sharing those happy
you're
moments.
right.
It's much harder to be there when you're at your bottom.
Yeah, when you are a pain, right? I had days where I was a pain in the ass because I
Mhm.
was frustrated. And when
Yes.
people stay with you in this pain and they understand why you're like
Mhm.
that, and they still love you, and they don't give it back to you, they give you a hug
Yes.
instead. Well, that means something.
That's true.
Mm.
I think it's hard because a lot of times we don't know what's going on with people until they tell us. And some
Yeah.
people don't want to share their most personal story with everyone right at the beginning.
Hmm.
So I think it's very hard. I think it takes a strong person to care for other people that are going through something.
Yeah, I think so. And for you to have the empathy to understand,
Yes.
or even not understanding, but still have compassion.
Yes.
Because
Agreed.
sometimes we jump into conclusions, like we see someone being a bit aggressive or stuff like that,
Mhm.
and we're like, yeah. But some people are just like, they're compassionate, and they
Yes.
they don't judge.
Mhm. I think it's very important to be that way, to not judge people automatically. But it's hard because when you're in that
It is
situation, you
hard.
automatically want to judge it and then make it about like, why is this person being so mean? Like, what is going on? Does it have something to do with me?
Yeah.
And I think you have to remember like that mantra that I talked about many podcasts ago about Anand Doham, like I am bliss inside and everything else is just a story. And so it has nothing to
Mm,
do with me. And a lot of times that's what we have to remember, that the reason the other person is being upset might not have anything to do with us. They're
yeah.
going through their own life and they're going through their own struggles.
Yeah, and don't we should not forget also that the other people may be a reflection of who we are. And
Yes.
just if you are so annoyed about whatever this person is doing, like, why are you so annoyed? Is it something that you do as well?
Hmm. Yeah,
I was
exactly. It's so
seriously,
true.
I
A lot
had
of
a
times we don't see
conversation.
it though.
A lot of times we don't see it. No, we just think that it's the other person, and sometimes it's the other person, and there's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my boyfriend just a few months ago, I think. And I was like, the things that annoy me the most about you are the things that annoy me the most about myself.
It's so true. Yes.
And yeah, and I look at him and like, oh, and then I do the exact same thing. I'm like, why do you have to know everything in detail? Like, can't you understand? And I'm like that as well. I want to know everything. Like, explain to me, you
That's the
know?
Gemini in you,
Yeah,
the counselor.
right, exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
the same, but I get annoyed. It's so weird. But we do realize that we are the same in so many ways. So we don't get as upset. It's like 5 minutes of upset and then we're
I
fine.
feel the same way because my mom always tells me everything in detail of what she wants done, and I get so annoyed. I'm like, doesn't she know that I already know this? But I do the same thing because I feel like it's important to explain things to people in detail of what they should do. So that's why I get annoyed. But it's something about myself that I like have to like deal with.
Right, exactly. And
But
it
when it's
happened.
happening, it's like, oh, like why is she
Ah,
telling me all this? I
yeah,
know this.
exactly. You think I'm dumb or something? Like, seriously. It's so funny. But it's true. Sometimes it is the other person. Yeah. Not to say that
Yeah,
I don't like to say that it's always our fault. Sometimes it's not our fault. Sometimes we're not
exactly.
responsible. But
Or
yeah,
sometimes it's no one's fault. It's just a situation that unfortunately happened to a person that led
true.
to a bad event in their life. And now they're trying to cope with it and they don't know how. Like they don't know how to
Mm,
separate themselves from it in the current situation they're in. And so I think it's happens to a lot of people that are maybe not emotionally aware. Like when something bad happens to them, they just lash out at everybody instead of being able to
yes.
separate them. So I think it takes a lot of years of personal development work to really not do that.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
I think that's why I shut down sometimes when I'm not
Hmm.
good. I just shut down. I don't talk.
Yeah,
I don't speak to people as much because I don't want to lash out on other people.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they say that we hurt the people that are closest to us the most.
I try not to do that.
Yeah, but
I
it's
don't know if
hard.
I don't know if I'm 100% successful, but if this ever happens, I hope they are open enough to tell me.
Yeah.
Really. Because
Mm.
I I don't like that. That would be, it's like, it feels like you're taking advantage of the
Yes.
confidence that people give you. I'm not perfect, not saying that sometimes I don't do it. I probably do, but I'm very cautious of it. Seriously, I don't
Mhm.
want to be this person that is
But
like,
it's good that you recognize that. You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
people don't even have that kind of awareness to know that.
yeah, because it sucks. I mean, the people I love, that's the people I want to be okay with. You know, I want them to
Yeah.
be good around me and happy and, just like,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
what's your number two?
My number two is resilience. So, so this
Oh,
year,
oh, old lady
it's
Brazilian.
it's kind of like when you're a child and you're learning how to walk. You fall down and there's something in you that pushes you to get back up, and then you fall again and you get up, and you fall again and you get up. And I feel like that's what this year has been. Like we keep like metaphorically falling on
Mm.
our knees while we're trying to walk. And we have to figure out like something inside of us has to keep pushing us to want to continue living. I think this year is so difficult for so many people because we're so depressed. I think across the board, so many people are depressed about what's going on.
Mhm.
And we have to find this resilience to hope for another day, to not commit suicide, to not end our life over something like this. So I think this year has taught me resilience to want to live a better life.
Yeah, this year is tough, man. I don't even know. Like seriously, yes. Yes. It's one of the things that we were forced to learn this year. And it's crazy.
I think
Um you just
it's
sorry,
go ahead.
just go ahead.
No, 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 you go ahead.
No, I was going to say that you just described one of the things I was sharing with my therapist. That it's like
Okay.
I'm exhausted of pulling
Mhm.
myself back
Mhm.
over and over. I just want for once to have someone to just help me cope with things because I'm exhausted. I feel like, as I told you, like from October, it's just one thing over the other, one thing over, yeah, yeah, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And you're
Mhm.
like, you are on the floor, and then you stand up, and there's another thing. Like, it's like life is just slapping us in the face
Yes.
continuously.
Yes.
And for me, it's like hell of a month. October and November is just like bye
Mhm.
bye. And it's crazy because you just described it exactly what I have been feeling about
Mhm.
resilience, and it's a little bit exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It is
It is
exhausting.
exhausting. But a baby never says, I'm too exhausted. I'm not gonna ever learn how to walk. There's something inside of us that pushes us. So we have that human spirit of wanting to live inside of us
Yes,
that pushes us to always get up.
yes, yeah. And if we are in trouble, we just ask for help,
Exactly.
and
Yes. I
that's
love
it.
that you mentioned that because it's so important. I think we did a whole podcast on that about how important it is to ask for help. And if any of the audience members that are listening to us, if you feel depressed, sad, suicidal, whatever, please reach out to someone. There's so many counselors that are here ready to help you deal
Yes.
with your situation. And I think therapy is such a good thing. We're both in therapy, and I think it has helped us immensely with even just coping with this year with what's going on.
Yes, exactly. And people sometimes see therapy as like, uh, I'm only going to therapy if I'm going crazy
Mhm.
or about to take my life. No, if you have a major change in your life, or if you want to deal with something that you think that you should deal in order to live a better life, just go to therapy. There's nothing wrong.
Exactly.
It will help you immensely. For me, at least, I'm quite happy with it.
Yes.
Yeah, you look
And
fine.
it feels good just to like be able to talk to someone that's neutral that doesn't know anything
Yeah,
about your life and is able to offer you advice that is
yeah.
not based on something or biased by any means.
Yeah, and
So
it's
it's
a different conversation. It's not like
mhm,
it's not like talking to a friend. It's a
exactly.
different conversation. The narrative is different, and you're going to discover new things and gain new
Mm,
perspectives. So if you feel like, just do it, and no shame. It's totally
exactly.
fine.
Yes. So what's your last one?
Okay, my last one is grounding practices are everything.
Yes, they are. Hmm.
If you
Well,
want
can
to
you explain what a
survive,
grounding practice is first for people that don't know?
yes, of course. A grounding practice is something that you do that will help you stay grounded, centered, you know, let's say balanced, even though I think that balance is impossible, but at least to be in yourself, able to, to deal with life. That's what grounding is. Yeah. Let's
Mhm.
think about when we feel like we are a tree, we are rooted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what grounding means. You don't feel like you don't belong. You feel rooted.
Mhm.
You feel in your body, in your soul.
Yes. And I think it's important
Yeah.
for people that are always in their head all the time to do these grounding practices. Because if
Yeah.
you're always like checked out or you're spacey, it's very important to establish these roots.
Yeah. And right now it's a little bit, it's very easy to be spacey and checked out and everything. A lot of people are drinking instead of facing problems. I see that all the time. And examples of grounding practices. For me, I always go for the same things. That's what works for me. And that's what I always go back to. I was having troubles sleeping again. I was having anxiety and everything. And then what have I done? I went back to my grounding practices. That sometimes I think that I don't need my grounding practices, but I do, apparently. So I practice yoga, I meditate every day, no exception. That's the only thing I never stopped doing, meditating. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And I journal. Yeah, now more often, obviously, because uh, the the more difficult your life is, the more probably more things you need to do. So I'm in this phase where I really need to journal everything and practice more yoga. So those are my grounding practices, and people can have different grounding practices. Ivana loves dancing in the morning, mantra chanting,
Mantra chanting,
chant,
yes.
chanting.
There's something
Um,
about mantras that just make me feel like comfortable and at home and at ease. I don't know what it is, but after I'm done, I just feel like a lightness has been lifted off of me.
yeah. And the reason why these practices are so important is not just because you just, go to a different world. It's just that when you are grounded, no matter what happens to you, you are going to deal with things in a total different way. Especially if you are hyper vigilant, or if you feel anxious. So if you ground yourself in the morning, if you ground yourself before you go to bed, you will have different experiences. You will not
Mhm.
be so affected by everything that happens to you.
Mhm.
And right now, I really don't know how I would be able to teach without my grounding practices. I have no
Yes.
idea. I really have no idea. I would be taking pills, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, no problem. Like, if you need pills, take pills. But
Mhm.
if you can avoid them, and there are natural things you can do and be fine.
Yes.
So yeah, but seriously, I appreciate my grounding practices, and they are everything.
And I loved what you mentioned, I think a couple of podcasts ago, about how important it is to keep your bedroom a resting place and not to do any work there.
Mm,
Because once you start doing work there, you start to confuse yourself and then you can no longer get restful sleep. So that's why it's
yes.
important to not have any distractions in your bedroom, but just have your bed there, no computer,
Yeah.
and only go to sleep in your bed when you're about to sleep, not to sit there and eat chips and watch TV.
I'm laughing because that was me like a few months ago.
No.
And then so I would work, I would eat chips, and then I would watch something
How
completely
did I know
useless
that?
on
How did I know
YouTube.
that you're doing that?
I'm not doing that anymore. Actually, I'm sitting on my sofa that I'm planning on. Now I have like the best sofa in the world with 10,000 pills. Pillows.
Pillows.
Guys, I'm not okay. Seriously, I'm very tired. I know that for you it's Tuesday, but for me it's Friday. Like, seriously,
And it's
has been a
Friday
long week.
afternoon, and for me, it's Friday morning.
Yes,
So we're all
exactly.
over the place.
We are all over the place, but you got us, right? Can you imagine this podcast if we didn't have our grounding practices?
Exactly.
Hi, oh my God.
I hope.
What's your number three?
My number three is acceptance. It's
Oh,
um, it's basically just accepting the situation we're finally in instead of constantly fighting it. I mean, there's so much that I hate the situation we're in. I wish we weren't in this situation with the virus, but it's just learning how to have acceptance. And then once you accept it, I think it's almost a little bit easier. Just like I had to have acceptance that Trump was going to be president for 4 years, it made it easier instead of always trying to fight it and feeling negative inside. So I think
Mm.
once you have acceptance, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's true. Oh my God, acceptance is such a big thing. And when we think about acceptance, I automatically think about something positive, right?
Yes.
And we are like, acceptance, positive things, let's accept positive things. But sometimes we have to accept negative things,
Yes.
right?
And those are the hardest. That's when acceptance is the hardest.
Yes, and it's freaking hard to accept, you know?
Hmm.
And there are some things that are hard. Like when someone dies, like it's very hard to accept it. But
Hmm.
you have no choice because otherwise you will not heal. Um, and this year, some people lost their jobs, and they had to accept it, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
Lost my job. That's it.
Hmm.
Accept it and move on, because otherwise how can you move on? And we spoke on the other episode on the on finishing 2020 strong.
Strong. Hmm.
Like we had so many goals,
Yes.
a retreat, whatever, coaching, free classes, yoga and stuff like that. We had
Yes.
so many plans, trips. You know how many trips I had planned last year?
Yes.
Tons
Yes.
of trips.
Hmm.
I had to accept that none of it was going to happen and actually be okay with it. And it
Yes.
was tough.
It is hard because you had envisioned this life for yourself and how it was
Yes.
going to unfold. And unfortunately, here comes this virus and completely changed everything. And it was out of your control. And so,
Yeah.
you had to accept that change. Like you talked about your first one, the only constant is change.
Yeah.
We like to think that we like change, but I think as humans, we don't really like change.
We
I
know
think
like it.
for ourselves,
We know like it. No, we're
we don't like it at
tired.
all.
We're exhausted. I'm tired of change, universe. Please leave me alone for a bit. Go find
Yes,
another person. Yeah,
it's
but you're
true.
right. Yeah, you're right. Jesus. Oh my God, tough lessons.
Yeah, tough
Wow.
lessons, but all really good, I think.
Yeah, all really good. And I'm glad that this time we had different things going on.
Yes, we
A
did.
little bit similar, but they were different. So we could give like 6 lessons to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to wrap it up. Should we wrap it up?
Yes. Let's ask our audience, what are some lessons that you learned this year and how has that changed your life?
Yeah, please do. And thank you very much for being here, for watching, and for listening in other platforms. And we're very
Yes, thank
grateful
you.
for you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you
Bye
so much. Bye.
bye.